Check out this giant steel ball. I'm in Hungry Horse, Montana, and this thing is just sitting on the side of the road like a roadside attraction. I meant to ask about it when I was up at the dam because I had a pretty good idea what this was for. You see, when you build a dam, you're going to end up flooding land that used to be forested. You could just let the water come up and eventually drown the trees. The problem is then the branches break off and you end up with a lot of floating debris. Not great if you're hoping to use that reservoir for boating. So the prudent thing to do is to clear the land ahead of time and possibly sell the timber. You could send out a bunch of tree fellers with saws and chainsaws and manually cut down every single tree. That's what they did at Lake Ketchulus up on Snoqualmie Pass, that lake that a lot of people call Stump Lake. Yeah, they cut every tree and left the stumps. Well, that was in 1913. This was in 1950. And by then they figured out a more, let's say, creative way of clearing the forest.
It's a lot heavier than it looks.
That thing is heavy. This giant 10-foot steel ball was dragged using these enormous chains behind two giant tractors. They would spread out 100-some yards in either direction and just pull the forest down. I imagine it was pretty horrifying to watch, but super efficient because it pulled the stumps out with the trees. Forestry crews followed behind, did all the cutting. Eventually those felled trees were transported to mills and turned into timber. All things considered, it's not a bad system, especially considering how much safer this would be compared to traditionally felling every single tree individually. I just think it's funny that they couldn't think of a better use for a giant steel ball than to put it here on the side of the road. So if you're visiting Glacier National Park, be sure to stop and see the giant steel ball. Although there's really no hurry, my guess is this thing is still going to be here 100, 200 years from now.